Jumpin' In on Manx Radio.
With Howard and Chris Kane.
Hello.
Good evening.
And welcome. Ah, yes, it is that time again, isn't it? 9 o'clock, Saturday night, our favourite time of the week, your favourite time of the week, we hope, because it is time for the best in modern and contemporary jazz. Jumping in here on Manx Radio with myself, H.
And me, Chris. Yes, welcome along to this week's edition of Jumpin' In, and a big and tasty edition it is too, with plenty to get you out of a pickle and shake you up, provided that we don't burger it up. Yes, it was on this very day back in 1955 that the first Big M McDonald's restaurant opened in Des Plaines, Illinois. And even though the McDonald's brothers actually started their own restaurant some 18 years earlier, famously selling burgers for just 15 cents. Incidentally, 15 cents from 1937 would be around £2.78 today, and a McDonald's hamburger still costs less than £1. But one thing that has maintained its value, or even got better than ever, is the great selection of music on our menu tonight. So, what's been the accompaniment to your Happy Meal this week, H?
We have a reissue of Contrasts with Sam Rivers, Mike Reed's People's Places and Things, and a birthday girl.
Ooh, change. And from me, some Spirit Science, Molecule or Two, Static, and to get you excited, well, we'll kick off with Bonegasm from bonegasm, or even bonegasm. Bonegasmo from Jennifer Wharton's Bonegasm. A bass trombonist is a rare enough sight in any ensemble, so for a passionate player to bring together the whole family of instruments and launch a band with 4 trombonists in the rhythm section is brave indeed. But due to the success of their first album and subsequent tour back in 2019, the second album, called Not a Novelty, was rehearsed during lockdown and came out last month. And I think you'll agree, they make a great sound.
Corking sound. Interesting instrument, isn't it? Bass trombone. It's one of those ones where you think, I suppose you start doing the trombone, then you go to the bass trombone. This idea of actually going in to play the bass trombone. Does anyone actually say, I want to play bass trombone?
Well, I mean, as I say, for a female player to be band leader is only just becoming more commonplace, but female bass trombonists leading a band must be a rare item indeed. And to have a bass, a alto, a tenor and a treble all together in the band is fantastic.
Rare as hen's teeth, as it used to say on a box of rare vinyl in the much missed Ray's jazz shop on the old Shaftesbury Avenue. Still going up in foils now, of course. It is indeed Jumping In with Chris and myself, H, and we're jumping in now with a bit of Mike Reid. No, not that one, who used to be on British television and EastEnders and such like. This is Reid, R-E-E-D, a fine drummer, not often seen this side of the pond, and plays quite often with the wonderful Greg Ward. Here's one from People, Places and Things, Second Cities Volume 1. They call this Shotgun Wedding. Yeah, lovely slow vamp to that one. Shotgun Wedding from Mike Reed's People, Places and Things. Second Cities Volume 1. Must check to see if Volume 2's out, actually. I mean, this was a year or two back, I think 2013. I actually picked it up after seeing him play live at the Green Mile, I think it was, in Chicago, and I had a chat with him. I must admit, I didn't really know his work then, but I did know a bit of Greg Ward, who's on alto sax. The rest of the band, again, probably not names that familiar this side of the pond. Tim Haldeman on tenor, Jason Ribke bass, Mike himself on of course on drums, and then Abba Bars on tenor and clarinet, Eric Byrne cornet, Juice Buis on trombone, Gus Janssen piano, Oscar Jan Hoogland also on piano on some tracks, Michael Moore alto and clarinet, and Felicity Proven on trumpet. And that was, like I said, recorded 2012, came out in 2013.
Nice stuff indeed. A slightly Ellingtonian feel to the writing, I think, the scoring
Absolutely.
there. And speaking of ponds, New York guitarist Tom Guarna made a splash with his first album, The Wishing Stones, which I featured on the show when it came out back in 2017, with a great quartet featuring Brian Blade, John Petitucci, John Cowherd on keyboards. Well, he's back with a new album and a new band. From Spirit Science, here's Two Circles. Tom Guana there with Two Circles from his second album, Spirit Signs, released last year with a quintet this time, once again made up of top-class players. The inspiration for Spirit Signs comes from a selection of interesting geometric shapes that not only bedeck the album cover but are reflected in the track titles, perhaps so they really draw a parallel to Guana's love of odd meters, with constantly shifting time signatures achieved with such ease as to be no interruption to the flow of the songs, almost imperceptible. The unmistakable sax sound, I think, there of Ben Wendell, with Aaron Parks on piano and keys, Joe Martin on the bass, and Justin Faulkner on the drums, and of course Tom Guana on guitar.
Yeah, fine drummer Justin Faulkner. He's getting more and more work, and always great to hear him. Always has something to say behind the kit. Jumping in, Chris and H with you. We quite often like to celebrate jazz birthdays. They're usually birthday boys. Today, it is a birthday girl. And here she is. Happy birthday, Karin Krog.
Ska du sitta hemställd? Jag kan göra när vi sitter hemställd. Wow, det vill jag också säga. Det är så bra. Det är så bra, men han säger sin. Men det så där det var det var. Så vi skulle sitta och säga vet du vad? Det var det så var. Ja men det är ju annorlunda här, är helt annorlunda här nu. Det var ju sån där. Ja men det var bort. Allt det där borta. Så nästan vad jag säger. Det var rart. Det var sten. Ja. Men jag var så här. Det var skott sana vad det. Nej, det ser vad det. Så det tror du det? Så du? Vad det var stenar. In a summer dwelling place, light beams slowly fading, times that oft had changed these walls, fading yet recalling. Oh, such joy mixed with the sorrow, crossing over all the moments, colored by the watching sea. In a summer dwelling place, light beams slowly fading, sights that oft had touched these walls, fading yet recalling. Oh, such joy mixed with sorrow, crossing over all the moments, colored by the watching sea.
Karin Krog with John Sermon. I think they're a sort of a partnership these days, and that John moved over to Norway, and I think they both live there. Karin Krog, who has just turned, well, probably not polite to say, is it? Being a sort of a lady.
No, don't mention
best
she's
not
80.
to mention. She's over 21, let's just say that, and long may she continue. And John himself is, over 21 as well. Happy birthday to you, Karen, in any case. A lovely little track there, just giving what I've always loved about her. She does a lot of straight-ahead singing, but of course she was an early adapter of using a bit of electronics to modify her voice, ring modulation, echoplex and such like. Always loved that. And she still does it very, very effectively. That was from a live one, Infinite Paths, Karin Krog, John Sermon with Ben Sermon live, and the track was called Picture Postcard.
And we saw them both actually playing live together a long, long time ago at Bracknell Festival. What a great jazz festival that was. Now, a name which has only come to a wider jazz audience, perhaps since winning the Rising Star in Downbeat's International Critics Poll, is composer and tenor player James Brandon Lewis, who garnered great praise for his 2019 release, An Unruly Manifesto, which I played on the show, which was inspired by the music of Charlie Haydn, Ornette Coleman and the Surrealist art movement. James, he really likes to take an academic approach to studying a particular theme to provide inspiration for his work, and this release was followed up by a live duo album with double bass, and this new album taking its particular themes from the interpretation of the double helix of DNA, the stuff of life itself. Here's the title track, Molecular. Lovely stuff. Molecular by James Brandon Lewis from the album of the same name, released in October last year. This is a great album, which I've been playing for ages and meaning to play on the show, and was only prompted by the release of his latest release, gosh, busy man, which we'll save for another day. Arwen Ortiz on piano, Brad Jones on bass, Chad Taylor on the piano, and James Brandon Lewis on the horn. There's some great hard blowing on this disc, so nice to bring you a relaxed ballad for a change. This is a young player we will for sure be hearing a lot more from.
I have no doubt about that whatsoever. Here's a player who sadly is no longer with us, Sam Rivers, but Dave Holland, the double bass player, most certainly is, and of course provides our title track. This is going back a wee bit, 1979 to be exact. One of Sam Rivers' great albums, Contrast's been reissued lately on the ECM label. Dave Holland bass, Thurman Parker on drums and marimba, George Lewis on trombone, Sam himself on soprano, tenor saxophones and flutes. And this is a track called Zip. Yeah, well worth checking out. That one not been available for some years, but has now been re-released. Sam Rivers Contrasts. Like I said, Sam on tenor sax. He also plays flute on some numbers. George Lewis trombone. Great Dave Holland double bass. Thurman Parker, not a name you hear often on the percussive front these days. Drums. And he also plays rather nice marimba on another track as well. You're listening to Jumpin' In. Chris and H with you. Now hear this.
Hi there, this is John Sermon, and you're listening to Jumpin In on Manx Radio.
With Chris and H. Indeed you are. Thanks very much indeed, John. And a classic from Hal Galper there. Now hear this from the album of the same name. Hal Galper on piano. Terumasa Hino, the wonderful Japanese trumpet and flugelhorn player. Cecil McBee bass. The late Tony Williams at the drums. Never fails to delight.
Not indeed. And that's about it, I'm afraid to say, from this week's edition of Jumpin' In. We hope you've enjoyed the show as usual. Next week we'll be back with one of our specials in a new series we're calling Old Masters, themed programmes dedicated to the works of a particular artist and musicians inspired by them. We won't give the game away, but put a note in your diary, don't miss it. And to leave, Swiss drummer Arthur Snatek and his trio use all kinds of electronics and sounds to create ethereal soundscapes from just an upright bass, a sax and a kit, and a few boxes of bits and pieces. Well, we'll leave you with the title track from their recently released album on Whirlwind. Here's
we most certainly
Static.
will. Don't forget, of course, we also have other specials coming up as well as the one you mentioned. We have the great Joe Lovano at one stage coming up for the interview.
We do indeed. Tommy Smith and Swiss minimalist Zen funk master Nick Birch. Great things to look forward to. Bye for now.
Look after yourselves.